Alright guys, so today we're going to continue on those transformation notes. So make sure you get these out. Also, make sure you have these cookie sheets from the front. You need at least one for notes, so if you don't have them, go grab them, get your notes out. We're going to get going. Okay, so today we are talking about spins. And spins in academic terms are called rotations. So for those of you who play kind of action sports, if you ski or snowboard, you know rotations. We got 360s, which are full turns. You go all the way around, right? You start one way, you spin around, you're facing the same direction. So that's a 360-degree turn. Now in math, we talk about 180-degree turns, which is when you start one way and you spin halfway around. That's a 180. We also talk about 90-degree turns. So that's when you just do a quarter of a turn. Make sure you get that written down somewhere. When we're talking about 90-degree turns, that's just 1/4 of a rotation. So go ahead and open this puppy up and we're going to get started. So once again, you definitely need a cookie sheet out for this. So when we're talking about turns, we have clockwise and counterclockwise. And when we're talking about this, I want you to think about a clock. I also have one up front on that focus sign. So clocks, when we're turning clockwise, goes with the ticks of a clock, right? So we're turning in this direction. So next to clockwise, go ahead and write that down. Turning in this direction. Make sure your arrow's going the right way. But when you're talking about counterclockwise, we're going against the clock. So it's actually going the opposite direction. We got clockwise, going with the clock, counterclockwise, going opposite. Perfect. And then 180, it doesn't really tell us whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise. And that's because if you do a 180 one direction, you're going to end up in the same spot as if you do a 180 the other direction. So it doesn't really even matter which direction you're going. So now we're actually going to apply this. So take out your cookie sheets. And what I want you to do is line up the corner of your cookie sheet with the corner of your graph. Corner of the cookie sheet, corner of the graph. And I'm just going to put a star up in this corner so I have a reference point of where I started. Perfect. Now I'm going to trace out my shape. So I got B, A, C. Go ahead and label those puppies because it gets a little bit confusing. I got B, A, and C. I got my star. Perfect. So what we're going to do is take this original image, and the first one asks us to rotate the figure 90 degrees. So remember, that's a quarter of a turn, counterclockwise. Remember, counterclockwise, opposite of a clock. So I'm going to put my point on 0, 0, the origin. B also happens to be there, but that's irrelevant. My pencil always goes on the 0, 0 spot. So I put my pencil on the 0, 0 spot, and I'm going to take my paper, the graph or the cookie paper, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. So now my star is in this bottom corner. I did one turn. Okay? And now we know our new coordinates. So it looks like C is at, I have to kind of press it down to see it, but it looks like it's at -1, +5. So when I remove my cookie sheet, I'm going to put my C at -1, +5. That's my C. I'm going to mark it C prime. Okay, and then I'm going to put my cookie sheet back so I can figure out where A is. So I got B. B didn't rotate, but C is lined up. Okay, and now it looks like A is on the point -4, 3. So when I remove it, I'll go -4 over, 3 up. That's my new A prime. And B, once again, that's where we were rotating, so it didn't move. So I can connect my lines, draw my new guy. And I already did one of them. So now we're just going to try and figure out our coordinates. So A is what we started with. Our original A looks like it's 3 over 4 up. So my coordinate for A is 3, 4. But my coordinate for A prime looks like -4 over 3 up. So when I make my rule for this, I always start with x, y, we know that. But what happens to these? I go from 3, 4 to -4, 3. So my x and my y switch spots. So now I have y, comma, x. But one other thing changed. So 3 switched spots, 4 switched spots. What happened to the 4? It became negative. So my front number becomes negative. So my rule is -y, comma, x. Alright, so that one's done. Now we're going to do the same thing again, but this time we're rotating the figure 90 degrees clockwise. So I'm going to line this up again. My star goes in the corner. A, B, and C get lined up. And I'm going to put my pencil on the origin. So everyone line it up. Corner on the corner. A, B, and C on top. Now we're going clockwise. So once again, going the same way as a clock. So I'm going to take my figure and I'm going to shift it. So my star goes 1. Match up the corners. It's 90 degrees. So now I'm going to really try and get the best vision I can. It looks like I am at 4, -3 for A. So I lift this up. 4, -3 for A. Whoops. So that's a double prime because it's the second time we're moving it. Then I'm going to line up B and A again. And it looks like C is at 1, -5. So that's C double prime. B, once again, didn't move. So draw my picture. Cool. So now, when I write my rule, I start with x, y. So once again, I went from 3, 4 to 4, -3. So they flip-flopped. 3 was first, now it's second. 4 was second, now it's first. So my rule, I'll have them flip-flopped. So instead of x, y, I have y, x. But which one became negative? The 3 or the 4? 3 did. So this second term needs to be negative. So these rules are similar. You just have to be careful which one's negative. Alright, now the last one. Rotate the figure 180 degrees. Once again, it doesn't matter which direction you go. What does matter is that you're lining up the corner in the corner. You're putting these right on top. B on top of B, A on top of A, C on top of C. Putting my pencil on the origin, not necessarily on B, it just happens to be that way. And then I'm going to rotate 180 degrees. So I'm going to rotate once with my star in this corner. That's only 90 degrees. So to go 180, I got to go all the way one more. Till my star's in the corner. Then I'm going to press it down as flat as I can. Looks like C is right at -5, -1. So I can remove my paper. -5, -1. C triple prime this time. Third time we're moving it. Then line it up again. Got B and C lined up. It looks like A is on -3, -4. So I'll do A, -3, -4. And I'm going to write those coordinates, -3, -4. So now we can draw our dots and make our rule. So, like always, we start with x, y. But our rule is a little different. So our 3 stays in the same spot from A to A triple prime. And our 4 stays the same. So it goes 3, -3, 4, -4. So they're still in the same spot, x and y. But what changes? From 3 to -3, I go negative. Or 4 to -4, I go negative. So now we've done all our rotations. Got all your notes down. And now we're going to do this new one you grabbed from the front. Emoji rotations. So you might want a new piece of paper, or you can just use the other end of this existing piece of paper. The first one asks us to rotate 180 degrees. So all I'm going to do, line up my corner with the corner, make a star. Then I'm talking about number 1, so I'm going to trace number 1. Whoops, hopefully better than I just did. Trace number 1, and you're rotating around the origin. So you put your pencil at the origin, and then you rotate 180 degrees. You guys can do it. The finished product should look somewhat like a lightning bolt. So stick with it. You guys can do this. Due today, at the end of class, this needs to be done. Leave the bottom for Thursday, just the top. Then from Monday and Tuesday, you had the house one, which was translations. You had a pencil one, which was reflections. And last but not least, we have that Halloween graphing deal. That if you want to color it, it's extra credit. So those are the 3 things, or the 4 things that you need to be done today. You have just about an hour and a half. I took 12 minutes of your time, so 18 minutes, and then you're good to go. We'll see you later.